Hello everyone, my name is Art Russell. Welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to relate some Buddha stuff, but before I do it's important that we understand what the term Buddha actually means. It's often believed that Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha, was the one and only. But Buddha nature is actually the true self of all of us. It's the real you and the real me. This is also often referred to as Christ consciousness. Now, some of you may be thinking, okay, Art, you've repeatedly told us that we're not the body and that we're not the content of the mind, because both of these are observable. But what do we have to believe to be enlightened? Now, with regard to enlightenment, I'd like to share that we don't have to adopt any ideology. There's nothing for us to do, and we don't have to be affiliated with any religion. So as far as beliefs go, this is what we can do with them. However, this does have to occur. Realization of our essential nature, beyond name and form. Now, to knowingly awaken to our Buddha nature is as natural as it is for a caterpillar to transform into a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't have to try to be a butterfly, this just naturally occurs. So likewise, the apparent person doesn't need to try to be enlightened. In fact, no person ever becomes enlightened. To be enlightened means that we have awakened from the delusional belief in being the person. When truth is veiled by ignorance of our essential nature, suffering arises in consciousness. Now, this occurs because we, spirit or consciousness, have identified with the person and believed it to be a somewhat relatively static thing. There's nothing static about it. It's important for us to understand that energy is always transforming, shifting from form to form. Bob Proctor used to describe this as the perpetual transmutation of form. So some of you may be thinking, though, but I am a thing. The thing, the person, is actually rendered via the mind and known by a no thing consciousness, the real you. Things, including the body-mind, aren't static at all. The person is a process, not a static thing. In fact, millions of cells are changing every minute. So where do we get something solid out of that? The constant real you is the field of awareness in which the body, mind, and the world arise. Now, when we dive deeper into this, we're also going to realize that we cannot possibly be the doer. Now, it certainly, as the body, mind, it certainly feels as though we're the doer. It appears as though we're the doer. But at a certain point, we realize that just as in nighttime dreams, and there's characters performing certain actions there, and we realize that they all had to be done by mind, that this is the same case in the waking state. In the morning, when the perspective of the person arises again, and perhaps there have been some nighttime dreams, it's realized that all of those fantasies, all of those occurrences in nighttime dreams had to be rendered by the mind. This is the same with this here right now. When awakening occurs, this is how it feels, as though the life that we took to be so real my case Art Russell, with all of its history, really occurred in consciousness similar to the manner that a nighttime dream occurs. If you'd like to look up more about the nature of matter, which certainly feels so real, I would suggest that you look up the double slit experiment on your browser of choice, and it shows how things which are made up of smallest subatomic particles are really waves of probability, whether there will be a thing made or just remain as a wave of light, of probability. That may help deepen understanding also. Now, why is this information important? Because the perspective of the person is inherently unstable, and identifying with it leads to suffering. We all know this. I've spoken of this before, but it's worth saying again. One day, 1 week, 1 year of life, even if you're identified with being the person, seems so very good. Circumstances are great. Your health is fine. You're married. Your financial status is just fine. And then the next day, week, or a year, it can slide to the other end of this, where apparent circumstances aren't as favorable. That's why it's in our best interest to at least be open to this possibility, to know about it. I, like many others, had no clue of this until grace, and I think of grace as almost an intuitive nudge or a tap on the shoulder, a higher self helping me know that there's illusion going on here, to not be caught up in appearances. The real you, Buddha nature, Christ consciousness, awareness, the unified field, if you'd prefer a scientific term. It's eternal, and it's centered in and as peace. And this is something that the egoic perspective cannot have. If you've enjoyed this video, I invite you to subscribe to my channel or click a like. More information is available through my free articles at thinktwice.me, and also through my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, available from Amazon. Bye for now. We'll talk again soon.